Last time, I spoke about 7 general tips to help you get into Fire Emblem Engage. But as I've learned more about the game, it's become clear that there's so much to discuss here that I've had to break things up by topic. So today, we're going over the Somniel and things you should do there. Let's begin. Hello everyone, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you for all the support on the last video. It's done very, very well, and that honestly makes me kind of giddy because Fire Emblem, it's my favorite game series of all time, and getting to make content on it, bringing it all to you guys, it's a pleasure. So, I'll be covering Fire Emblem Engage far more in the future, and if you want to see more of it, please subscribe. Thank you. First up, S-rank bond rings can grant bonus skills. And this is a tip that a bunch of people in my chat were actually surprised about when I first showed it to them. Some bond rings, not emblem rings, bond rings, can grant you abilities when at S rank. Take this Deirdre ring that I got. Not only does it provide some nice stats, it also grants the wearer renewal, allowing them to regenerate 5 HP per turn. And that may not seem like a lot, but on a frontliner like Boucheron or Diamant, it'll help more than you'd think. So spend some time upgrading those bond rings and let us know what you get. Not every S rank ring has abilities, but clearly, some of them do. Number 2 is switch emblem rings around to inherit more skills. Speaking of rings, it's important to consider swapping those emblems around to inherit useful skills, especially early on. You'll notice that your bond level increases very, very quickly, but until you make a certain amount of story progress, you won't actually be able to progress past level 10 of your bond. So, unless a particular unit emblem pair is key to your strategy, consider switching your rings once you're at this temporary cap. By increasing your bond, you can inherit powerful build crafting skills from your emblems, as well as attain weapon proficiency, which will be very important, allowing you to change your class outside a unit's normal skill set. Stay versatile, and inherit from a variety of emblems when and where you can to diversify your team. Number 3, bond levels grant powerful weapons. Now, the previous point being said, there are still reasons to stick with one emblem on a given unit as well. As your bond increases, not only will you get more skills you can inherit, you will also unlock new emblem weapons. These weapons do have very good stats, of course, but much like the S-rank bond rings I mentioned previously, they can also grant powerful effects on their own. If we look at Marth's Mercurius that you unlock at Bond 10, it's a strong sword, but it also grants double the XP you earn when you use it, which kind of overshadows just the raw stats, you know? It's quite the powerful effect indeed, so check what you can gain from new Bond weapons, and decide based on that if you want to switch emblems or not. Number 4, go back to the Somniel after every battle to cook and to train in the arena. Moving on from bonds and their effects, this is a simple one. If you want to maximize your leveling and your stats, return to the Somniel after every battle. By doing so, you'll be able to cook a new meal to boost your stats and gain support points, and you can re-enter the arena for extra training battles. The stat boosts from cooking can be nice, if sometimes minor, but the ability to build supports is very important, and actually we're going to be talking about that in a latter point as well. Likewise, you're only going to gain about a level to a level and a half most of the time if you win all 3 arena fights, but if you're not grinding in skirmishes, XP is a precious resource that can bring characters like Jean and Anna up to speed in a hurry. And speaking of the arena, make sure that you equip your best weapons before fighting in the arena. Now this is a callback to the legendary Fire Emblem genealogy of the Holy War, wherein you could bring whatever weapon you wanted into the arena. And the arena in the Somniel allows you to do much the same. Whatever weapon it is that you have equipped when you start a training battle is the weapon that you will be using in the fight to come. In the past games, you'd be given a random, typically iron weapon, but it's not the case anymore. Bring your strongest gear to maximize your chances of success and secure as much experience as you can. I personally have been training Jean here, and to do so gave him a forged +3 iron body art, which has allowed him to end many fights before they even start, especially against other squishy units like archers and mages. The double attack with the increased damage, it's potent, for sure. If you're feeling particularly sweaty about it and really want to get that XP on a particular character, You can even choose to specifically engrave a weapon with an emblem's power just for that fight in the arena. But be careful you don't use too many bond fragments this way. It can get a little pricey. That does lead nicely into our next point, though. Don't forget to apply a new emblem's engrave on a weapon. You see, every time you get a new emblem ring, you also unlock a new engrave option at the blacksmith. If you weren't aware, this system allows you to apply an emblem's power to any weapon in your arsenal. The engraving will loosely match the attributes of the associated emblem. Marth's engraving, for example, provides a nice balanced boost with a little bit of a focus on speed and accuracy to the weapon that you put it on. While there are some, such as Roy's engraving, that I haven't quite found a niche for, these buffs are largely very useful and can turn a unit and their weapon from good to great. So check those engravings regularly. And also, if you have any ideas on how to use Roy's engraving, let me know. The weight that you get and the reduced dodge for the small increase in damage just does not seem worth it, but maybe I'm missing something. Number 7. Dogs drop ingots in the pasture. If you're wondering how to get a hold of more upgrade materials for the blacksmith, including those sweet steel and silver ingots, have you considered dogs? Yes, that's right, dogs! These loyal hounds know exactly how they can pay us back for stealing, adopting them from their loving homes and families, and it's by gifting us the single most valuable resource that it's possible to get from the pasture. That's right, kids, these are no milk or eggs, no sir. Pack your pasture with dogs and you'll be swimming in valuable ores before you know it. And don't worry, little Timmy will understand. There's a war on after all, and he's a patriotic spirit, so get out there and adopt those dogs. Number 8. You gain all bond fragments from conversations if you leave a map early. We spoke a lot before about bonds, skills, and rings, but you can only engage with those mechanics if you have enough bond fragments. Fortunately, after every battle, you can explore and speak to your compatriots. Some of them will give you fragments for doing so. How do you know who will, though? Hell if I know. I just run around, grab all the item drops and animals I can find, and then leave. However, if you move on to the next battle or the Somniel without gathering all of the fragments from conversations, you'll just be given any that you missed. So if you, like me, don't feel like subjecting yourself to lines of canned post-battle responses, you don't have to. And yes, this doesn't happen at the Somniel, but it's a resource for use there, so it counts in terms of the topic. And yes, I know there's a tutorial about this, but I still have people in my chat who freak out when I leave a map without talking to everyone because they think I'm going to miss fragments, so it bears stating. And final qualifier, but the most relevant plot dialogue, you can tell where it's going to come from because the character will have a little blue speech bubble above them when exploring if you want to catch it. It's very minor though. Don't stress about it. Don't at me. If you want to see it, it's there. Number 9. Focus your Somniel activities to gain supports quickly, as supports build very slowly in combat. I mentioned supports briefly when discussing cooking, but this point is going to get into it a bit deeper. It's been discovered that you only gain support points in battle on your phase, not the enemy phase. This is a bit of a departure from past Fire Emblem games, and it's going to have a noticeable impact on the rate at which you gain new supports. You'll be getting them far more slowly, especially if you're more used to things like Three Houses, Fates, and Awakening. It's really closer to the OG era of supports. To level supports faster and get the associated stat boosts online, it's important to focus your support boosting Somniel efforts on specific characters wherever and whenever you can. Make sure you're pairing your core team members who have supports together in any activity to build points quickly, or you may find yourself stuck at C rank far longer than you'd like. I've personally found cooking to be the best way to do this, as you can see very clearly who has supports with who, and you seem to get a pretty good amount of points from it. So cooking, any other activities, pair them up, but focus your main team. Finally, number 10, check in with Sommie regularly for extra bond fragments. We have here one last tip on how to get the most bond fragments for your buck. If you're in the Somniel anyways, you should always be checking in with Sommie's altar regularly. If you don't know who Sommie is, it's the little blue dog cat thing you get to name early in the story. Mine is named Trixie, after Jane and I's precious little girl. By feeding Sommie, petting it, and dressing it up, you can earn a decent stock of fragments. It seems like the first feeding time after each battle is guaranteed to get you 100 fragments, and each day that passes also causes 50 fragments to spawn on the ground around the altar. Beyond that, other earnings seem less consistent. I've gotten fragments from randomly petting Sommie and dressing it up, but whether that's a random occurrence, a set event for reaching a certain amount of friendship, or something else isn't clear to me. I'll need to do some more testing to be sure, and if any of you know more about how this system works, feel free to drop that info in the comments. It'll be useful for everybody. Regardless, there's fragments to be earned from this weird little critter, so get to it. And there we are. 10 more tips, all of which have to do with activities in and around the Somniel. I hope you guys found this helpful. I'm sure there's plenty more to learn about the Somniel as we dive deeper into the game, and of course, there's a ton of combat strategy and planning to go over as well. I'm already working on my script for the next combat tips video, and there may well be some deeper dive guides in the works as well. As always, thank you all for watching. Let me know if there are any corrections that need to be made here, or if there are any topics you'd like to see covered going forward. Again, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.